everybody. Welcome to Southern Renaissance. I've got here one of my special guests, one of my favorite people in the world. I got Mr. Johnny Stevens. I'm proud to have on the show. We're here at Clearwave Studio, one of my favorite places to be.
Well, you're always welcome here, and thanks for coming, and I'm a big fan of the show. I've seen all of them, I think, and I watched the Max Russell one just this morning.
Yeah.
And really, I'm really glad you did that. He's someone I've always admired, and I lived over there in the Florence, Muscle Shoals area, and he was always a staple around there. And the one with your dad was really cool.
Thanks, man.
We already talked about that, but are you going to have God on by any chance?
No, but I need to. I need to be talking to him because that was from the rare, very short-lived TMFP podcast.
Yes.
It's still out there floating around. I don't know where it's.
I was a fan of that one too. And I guess did you get canceled?
I got canceled. Yeah. Okay. The network came down on me hard, and I got canceled. So.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, I love Max, and of course, I love my dad. That's always good. I love my dad, and Max, man, such a just stand-up dude, and that's the good thing about my circle of friends and just people I know. It's like all you people are just cool people, and that's to me more important than anything.
Well, it's cool to look, back on, watch it, and when they tell stories of stuff that you had no idea, that was going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. You learn about someone you know.
Totally. Yeah, that's my thing too. Yeah, I'm realizing this too. It's even people I know. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And I learned stuff about Max. I even learned stuff about my dad I didn't know. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah, poor Max. I've had hand issues, so it's harder for me to play guitar. We got a gig.
Oh.
This will probably be right before our gig on the 9th, September 9th. But I can't play guitar, so Max is taking over the guitar. So I'm just going to be hooting and hollering.
Oh.
So, which is kind of scary because I'm going to try to keep my Iggy Pop to a minimum, but you never know what'll happen. But Max is like, we just decided when we were going to do that, and he just immediately, all right, man. And it's like he's almost got it all down. It's like, how do you even do that?
He's been waiting for that to happen.
Maybe so. He's like, finally, that guy stops playing guitar. I can't blame him. But yeah, man, we're here to talk about Johnny Stevens. Man, so where are you from originally?
I am from the great metropolis of Decatur. I am from
So
here.
You are from Decatur.
Yeah. I've been living here all my life, pretty much. I mean, I moved off and went to college and stuff, but I've always had opportunities here, and so I had no reason to leave.
Yeah, man, absolutely, and you've built a amazing your studio, and just seeing here, just all the cool musicians that come in and out here, and the amazing recordings you've been a part of, man. What originally got you into music, like when you were a kid?
Well, I grew up in a very musical house. Both my parents were music teachers.
Cool.
And I have an older brother who, is just a great musician. He kind of took the path of the Army and did the Army band thing, and Army Reserve band. And, but everybody always had like rehearsals or gigs and stuff as a kid. And I guess all that just kind of trickled down to me. And I just became obsessed with music, especially recorded music. And, I started playing bass because we had one. And just did the things you do when you're a kid, playing music. We started like this little garage band thing, and we jammed all the time, and started playing gigs, and bars.
What was the name of your first band?
Shaman.
Shaman. Oh man, that's fancy.
Yeah, Shaman. Actually, before that, it was called Sage. S-A-J-E.
Sage.
And we took the first initial of everybody's name and made a word out of it.
That's actually pretty creative. I was gonna say, like, I called you a sage earlier because I was like saying, man, you've been doing this forever, and you're like, what are you trying to say? I'm old or whatever. No, you're wise. Yeah, but well, that's cool, man. I mean, so you got into playing bass and playing in a band before you got into the actual recording thing?
Oh yeah, definitely. With that band, one day we won this Battle of the Bands thing, and the grand prize was studio time at this really cool studio. And I can just remember going in there for the very first time and just being, it was like, I could live here.
Yeah.
And all the cool instruments and the speakers, and I was like, all those records I listened to, they're made here at a place like this. I think I'll do that for a living,
Yeah, man.
And if that doesn't work out, I'll just fall back on being a rock star.
That's right. Exactly.
So, it's worked out so far.
Well, the way I look at it, I think that producers and engineers are just as much of a rock star to me as the rock stars themselves, because I just really geek out on like gear and just they're just actual production techniques and stuff. Okay. It's awesome. So what inspired you to get into audio engineering? Other than that, was it just like you saw that recording studio and you were like, man, this is it? Just immediately at that moment, you were like,
I was still in high school, and one of the first jobs I had was working in a music store.
Okay.
And there I learned about home recording. And we sold these little 4-track recorders.
I love those.
And I bought a little Yamaha, 4-track recorder and a couple of, Shure SM57s and 58s, and, just started recording my own stuff. And, I ran out of ideas in like 3.5 hours. So I started recording my friends and their bands, and, and just I've always done it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, that's cool. I hear a lot of people, they start out on those 4 tracks. I love those things because you could it's analog. You could just blast it and get it all distorted and stuff. Get it in the red. You can't do that digital.
Yeah, and this place is definitely, it's a, it's a part of that, it's kind of built from that. I remember I had a little 4-track recorder, and I remember one time I discovered that if you take this little Mackie mixer and you go all the line outs, and then you can use the mixer part in this Mackie thing, it sounds a little better, and it's got and has a little more EQ options on it, and I still have it.
Nice. That's awesome. I wish I still had all my original stuff, but it's been long gone. But yeah, that's cool just to hear. See, I didn't know that. Like, this is literally, I've already found out something that I didn't know about, that you had started on a 4-track like that. And see, that is cool. Well, I know that you used to kind of work with Johnny Sandlin.
Yeah.
And now who is he to you?
Well, he was definitely my mentor. When I was in college, I went to the University of North Alabama. In Florence, Alabama.
Okay.
And there, I was living in, I think I was up to 8 tracks at that time.
Cool.
And had the space I was living in was just a studio, pretty much. And had a couch in it. I would sleep on the couch. But there I learned about, there's this guy, Johnny Sandlin, who's hiring somebody. He needs some help in his studio. And I thought he had the coolest studio in the world. To me, it was like the perfect thing that the studio should be. it was like this building, he had this little compound that he lived on, and it was like a building next to his house, or it looked like another house. And it was, it was a perfect size. I mean, it was probably similar in size to this, maybe a little bit bigger. And anyway, but most importantly, he made records that were great, and he made hit records. He made, he did Allman Brothers Band, and all this Capricorn Records stuff, Southern rock stuff. And when I was working for him, he had just come off of working with Widespread Panic. And then Widespread Panic was huge when I was in college. I mean, I think they're probably still pretty popular in colleges and stuff. And there's this band, Colonel Bruce Hampton and Aquarium Rescue Unit, that just came out, and that was like, that's if you heard that.
Yeah, I love that guy. I love him in Sling Blade.
Oh yeah, Colonel Bruce, Colonel Bruce Hampton. But I thought that was the most amazing music I ever heard in my life. Yeah. I mean, it's like the musicianship was out of this world, and it had this weirdo Southern humor to it, Yeah. But anyway, he had just, made those records, and I was like in paradise. Of course, I want to work with that guy. So Johnny, I, begged him for a job, and it started out as just digging up the garbage and maybe setting up microphones and making coffee, like basically a janitor type stuff. And but he showed me how to be an assistant engineer, keeping up with tapes and labeling the console, and just through the years and months, he started just letting me do more and more, and started to trust me. But really, it was just within a few weeks of me working there that I was assistant engineer on a major label rock record. It was the Greg Allman.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah. This is about I don't know. I'd only been working for Johnny just for a few weeks, and here comes Greg Allman. And
wow.
And
he just like walks in. Well, I'm going to the bathroom, kid. Just go ahead, take over.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like that at all. I was kind of like a fly on the wall back then.
That's amazing, though, that you got to have that experience so early in your career.
Yeah, and after a few years, he did let me drive the console pretty early, the tape machine. I can remember 2 times very early when I was totally not qualified to do this. But O'Teal Burbridge was doing a solo album, and he was like my favorite bass player in the world. I mean, and he's the bass player who played on that stuff. And he's the dude who plays with Dead and Company now with John Mayer.
I got you.
Or is it Dead and Friends?
I don't know.
One of those spinoff things.
Dead in the Bunch, the Funky Bunch. I don't know.
But Johnny knew that I was such a big O'Teal fan, and he hey Jeremy, why don't you do this? And it was like really, that was really cool. I think he was, he knew that it would be important to me to be able to do that. And the next time, this guitar player Jimmy Herring came in the studio, and that's probably on the same project. And that Jimmy Herring also played in that band. Wow. You know who Jimmy Herring? He plays with Widespread Panic now. But anyway, he's this crazy guitar player, and I mean, he's just, and Johnny hated recording like really, crazy guitar parts and stuff, because Jimmy would have you like punch in on, hey, can you punch me in on the 7th 32nd note on this thing? And but I just remember Johnny, we were doing that session, and Johnny's like, okay, Jeremy, you have it, because he wanted to avoid the
the widdly diddly and the punching in, and I got you, man. Well, that's very cool that he was just. I feel like, and I know not everybody maybe thinks this, they think of it all technical or even just that creative aspect, but I just feel like maybe he just felt your energy, that you had this energy with this kind of music, and it was just like let's let him
Yeah.
Or he could just not have wanted to do it.
I think the Braves were playing.
The Braves.
He was a big fan of the Braves, and they won a World Series that year. It was 1995.
Oh, yeah. I remember that, man. Yeah, because I used to, believe it or not, I played baseball when I was in high school and stuff, and I loved the Braves, like before when they really sucked.
Oh, yeah.
And then they got good, and it was like, I'm on top of the world, man.
I think they're doing pretty good now. I haven't looked into it.
Yeah, I don't keep up with it anymore, but... Well, how long have you been doing this? I mean, you've been doing it for a while.
Well, let's see. I've been here since about 1 o'clock, and you showed up at 1:05. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean forever?
You learn fast.
No, this studio has been here for over 20 years. But yeah, I mean, I've been doing it, I guess, almost 30 years. No, it's been, over 30 years. I've been recording stuff,
Man.
you know, and I haven't had to have too many legitimate jobs, so I'm not really qualified to do much like anything else. You know
what? This is one of the most legitimate jobs I can imagine, because this is art. This is what people remembers. This is what people remember in the future is art, and the recordings and things like that. They're eternal, but no one's going to remember, as important as it is to dig a ditch or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
No one's going to remember that. They're going to remember the art. And so you're leaving a legacy for our culture.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. I mean that. I really mean. You have I hate to go back into the hippy dippy stuff, but you have an energy to you and just a creative. You really put creativity into what you're doing, but you're also technically proficient, which is the perfect combo. And you've got a lot of patience, because I've recorded here several times.
You have.
And you've had to deal with me, so you must have the patience of a saint.
Well, you're easy. You just kind of, you're like, you're not in a punk band. I know you have been in your past. But you have a very punk rock flow about you, where you just set up the mics and let's just get whatever happens.
Yeah. It's like a documentarian, I was raised on that, the punk rock, but even before that, the Sun Records stuff, where so many original recordings got made, and it was all about mic placement, and the mic's placed, all right, record it, and there it is.
Yeah. Jazz is a lot like that. I've done a few jazz albums, and you get it sounding like a record, and
bam,
let's see what happens.
I love it, and it's sort of, I appreciate the creativity, I guess, of like multi-tracking over and over, and because you can make these, dramatic things, but there's just something about that raw nature of capturing a band like that I just really enjoy, because it's like that moment in time is now captured. Mm-hmm. It won't ever exist like that again. That is like a moment in time.
Yeah, that's definitely what I shoot for. And sometimes it's a battle.
Oh yeah.
Because people are so used to doing segmented things. Like let's decide on a tempo. Click, click, click. All right, and then let's do drums to that.
Yeah,
and it's like, how do you play drums to that when you don't know what you don't know what the vocals are doing or how the singer's going to sing it, the emotion. But I do feel like these young bands I'm working with are very receptive to playing together live, more so than people in our generation.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe they just don't, know any better. But I'm all about, the magic that happens when you bring ultra talented people into a room together, same place, same time, and you just, let them fight it out. And
Battle. Yeah, he has, we didn't say that earlier, he has MMA in here. He's not recording.
It's like that sometimes.
It probably is.
There's been a few fights in here.
No, I love it in here. It's just, The vibe in here is great, and this room is just great. The energy and just the vibe of the entire studio. But then you add on top of that with your ear and your creativity and your technical prowess. I use the word prowess. I'm prowess of myself. And but you've just really got something special. And I don't say that lightly. Like, I joke around a lot, but it's really something special. And it's hard to put your finger on it, but you know it when you hear it, or you work with someone that's like that, and you've got that special thing that not everyone has. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, it's the truth, and that's why I love working with you on recording and just hanging out. We're just you're just a funny dude. You got all kinds of crazy stories.
Well, truth be told, I have no idea how music goes down a wire. When I think about it, it just blows my mind. I don't.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I'm very technical at all, because I have no idea how anything works.
Well, I mean, you have an idea of the flow, I guess, in the machinery of using it to make some. But I don't. I mean, I guess you're not a scientist. Like, you don't study the atoms going to electricity.
I did read how digital recording works once, because I took this physics class and physics of sound in college, and it made me want to quit, because it still didn't make sense to me. But anyway.
Well, I think you're probably an artist at heart, but you take these tools, you're using these tools to create something, and that's kind of what I've discovered over time, that I want tools that don't get in the way of creative process. So if you get too deep into things, unless you're trying to do something, I guess, more technical, sometimes to me, if it gets in the way, then it's not a good thing, because then you're thinking about that instead of making a good song.
I just feel like, I've been doing it for so long, and a lot of the technical things I don't even think about anymore.
That's a good thing, I think.
And I just try to get it out of the way of the musicians.
Yeah, exactly. And I can see that, the way you work like that.
I had to do that. I learned that at Johnny's.
I believe it.
I mean, if something was misbehaving, like a machine or something, the last thing you wanted to do is tell Johnny about it. Just work around it and keep it flowing. And he doesn't need to know about it.
Oh,
and then maybe after the end of the night, so, that machine broke.
By the way, yeah. By the way, we don't have background vocals on that one, but we can fix it in post.
One time, speaking of Greg Allman, that I just remember one of my first. The first few weeks of a assistant engineer, we were recording on those ADAT tapes. Remember those ADAT machines?
Yeah, man. Yeah, there was actually super VHS tapes. Right. They were interchangeable.
Yeah, and he had 32 tracks of it, which is 4 machines. Each machine had 8 tracks. And so we were going to record the band on 24 tracks and do vocals on the last 8 tracks which was a machine by itself.
Okay.
And I can just remember Greg was in there singing his album, and I had forgotten to put the tape in the 4th machine.
Oh no!
So he's just singing away, and I think I remember I looked over at the machine and realized what happened, and the terror struck me.
Oh God!
And then I looked over at Greg, and he just sang the last word of the song, and kind of looked up and like, how was that? And asking everybody. And I was the only person in the room that knew that there was no tape in the machine. So I did whisper to the head recording engineer, Mark Harrelson, hey, I screwed up. And Mark, I think he pulled it off. He was like, yeah, that's pretty good, Greg. Why don't you maybe hit it another time or two?
Nice.
And he played it off. You know?
Nice.
So I should buy him some cake for that.
Right. Yeah, man. He didn't throw you under the bus. He's like,
That's right.
Teamwork makes the dream work. This is not the same thing, but I've done something similar when I was in broadcasting. When I first started out as a production assistant, we were doing a live broadcast and we needed to record it. The recorder had already started, and this is when they had the tape decks and stuff. It already started, but I thought it still needed to start. So I somehow just randomly hit stop on it.
Oh.
And I thought he was going to die.
Oh, wow.
The producer was like, but yeah, so I've been there, man. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't Greg Allman. So it's a big difference there.
Yeah, this was 1995. So if you know anything about Greg Allman, he talks about when he hit rock bottom as far as his addictions and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a time when he was at the, I think they were being inducted into the Rock and Roll Music Hall of Fame or whatever. And I don't know, he gave a little bit of a speech, but he was real bloated and didn't make a lot of sense. And he said, "Oh, that's when I knew I had to do something or whatever." And that was when he was in Decatur recording a record. So he got to experience the poor guy at his
lowest
bad time in his life.
That's rough, man. I've been there.
Yeah, I think he got better though.
That's good. I think, and I believe Stone Temple Pilots wrote that song "Dead and Bloated." that's my poor attempt at humor. There's fuzz on my microphone.
Oh, is there?
Just on mine. Yeah.
What the hell is this thing? Is this like a sweatband for you?
Yeah, I think so. It's when I work out, when we're doing MMA in here, I put that across my wrist.
I don't have one of these.
Yeah.
Should I?
You should, man. It's the cool kids have them. I don't know. I think it's just to hold that little wire down to keep it from flopping around or whatever.
Oh, I just let my wires flop.
See,
That's how we do it.
That needs to be on your sign.
It's on my business card.
Your business. Clearwave, we let our wires flop. Hello? Well, shoot, man. You've had so many awesome artists come through here. I mean, over the years, you've recorded Jason Isbell, Alabama Shakes, our pal James Irvin, Microwave Day. Like, I could go on forever, all the great Southern musicians you've recorded. Has there been any sort of an artist or something that's come in that you didn't know and you're like surprised how good the material was?
Oh, yeah. There was one time it was really this real magical moment. This guy came in. He was wearing a cape, and his name was Tony Perdue.
Oh, no. Man. You're like, who is this fool?
No, but it's been, I'm really enjoying this time. I really don't think about what, the past very often.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But the last couple of years, the musicians that have come out of this area, like really young musicians, and it's just unbelievable the level of talent.
Yeah, man.
And I think a lot of it, there's a new energy about, these young bands will really want to do their own material and write. And, when we were coming up, or at least when I was coming up, it seemed like everybody wanted to be a cover band.
There were a lot of those, and I just never was interested in that. I like covers if you do them your own way.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
But no, really the last few years have been definitely the best years for the studio, I think.
Nice, man. I know Lamont Landers. Yeah. He's really incredible. Great voice, and
he's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many, and I know Dave Anderson's recorded here. I don't know. I could go on forever.
There's this young band Camacho. It's real good from Decatur.
Oh yeah. I heard about them. Yeah.
Drop Diver.
Cool.
Dweeby.
That name.
Real good. Taylor Honeycutt.
Okay. Yeah. And she's Now, is that she had the she was on the charts or something on the?
No, that was Christy Lee.
Christy. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Christy.
I get them all mixed up.
Christy had I mean, I laugh when I think about it, but she had a #1 blues album.
That's it. Yeah,
I mean, it was
and
on
I heard
iTunes,
about that.
I mean, I have no. Somehow the algorithm we slipped through, because I mean she's great, but I feel like there's a lot of great people who are very deserving, and she's a wonderful person, ultra talented, and it couldn't happen to a better human and more talented person than her, but. I have no idea how that happened. I mean, we're broke, just like she's broke. Everybody's broke, just and
yeah, man.
I mean, there was no sugar daddy with like $2 million to It's very rare. Like if you look at everybody on that list that we beat, it was like they're like millionaires. Joe Bonamassa and
yeah. I think that's great though. That actually gives me hope that there's more to it than just the algorithms and just the computer. It's actually
I think every once in a while,
people are like, hey, that's good quality content. I want to hear it.
I mean, it's definitely. I mean, my philosophy. I mean, everything that leaves here has to be good. Because good transcends all. And nobody's rich. I mean, I feel like if we had $2 million to throw at it, we could make anybody.
I'm sure. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. You can.
I mean, they never give Grammys to poor people. Yeah,
I've noticed that very rarely.
Yeah, so I was very happy though. Very proud of her.
That's awesome, man. Yeah,
she's worked very hard her entire life, and had 4 days of #1.
That's cool, though, man. And you can always say that.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Well, I know you were saying a lot of young bands come in here, and you're feeling good about that kind of energy coming through here. What do you think is one of the challenges of a band getting a good recording? Like for anybody listening, maybe that's just getting started out. Getting ready to try to go into a studio or what they should do.
God.
I think that's one of the things I remember when I went into my first studio. I was like, oh my God, what do I, it's like there's a little bit of a, it's a little bit overwhelming, I think, at first.
You just prepare. I mean, treat it like you're playing a gig. That's the most important gig of your entire life. Treat it like you're playing on the Jimmy Kimmel show or something. We have to just do the best we could ever do and rehearse, before you come in. Know what songs you're going to do, prepare, make sure your equipment works, make sure you know your part, make sure you know his part. Are there background vocals? If so, who's going to sing it? And so you have to be ultra prepared, but also you have to expect that things are going to take a turn for the worse sometimes, but also you need to leave room to experiment with stuff.
Be flexible for what happens in the moment, right?
Yeah. And once you get going in this studio or any studio, it's pretty, it's pretty easy. I mean, once you get over the hump of setting up and doing a couple of, pass-throughs, a couple of takes of a song and getting your headphones right and get settled in and, make a couple of fart jokes and have some laughs and stuff. And, there is, young bands are pretty anxious when they come in. They just want to go, let's go. Oh my God, we've been here for 2 hours and we haven't recorded anything yet, And once you get over that first song, it's pretty easy. It just feels like a gig that, it's just a different type of gig.
I know what you mean, man. Yeah, because most gigs, even I've been doing it for a while, but even a gig, it's like that first song, you're like, and then like after that, it kind of tapers off, and you're like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, you forget about headphones and stuff. So
yeah, man. Well, you've always been very patient with me, and I appreciate you, man. Well, whose idea was it on James Irvin's video for Saturday Slow?
Yeah.
Whose idea?
Oh, that was James.
That was all
100%. I didn't want to do it at all.
That definitely has a signature James goofiness on it.
I didn't want to do it. And it turned out really good.
I love it. This was great, man.
I mean, yeah, looking back on it, there's some, some pretty messed up things, but it turned out really good. And
it was all good fun.
Yeah, and you had the best role in that. God, that's how I met you.
Oh,
I think so.
No, it was before. That was. I recorded here before we recorded the EP. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
We recorded the EP before that.
When did you record that EP? Because this was
time is hard.
This was 2017, about September-ish, as I remember.
Man, I don't know. It's all rent. I don't know. Time is hard to think.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
But yeah, that was fun. And I was working on my dance moves in that video, and I'm going to have to utilize some of those Saturday night because I won't have my prop.
That's right.
So I got to work on my flexibility and yeah, man.
Make sure you stretch beforehand. I want you. You're a little bit older now.
I know, man. I've got the same, energy, as far as inside my brain, but my body's probably not going to cooperate the way it used to. Yeah, man, that was just funny to me. That was a very creative video, and it was just funny. But the song's good too.
And I was pretty proud how the editing it worked out.
Yeah.
I kind of liked how that worked
I
out.
thought it was great, man. Well,
you know who you should interview is Bay Chandler.
No, wait. Oh, yeah.
You know Bay Chandler?
I think, yeah. Just sort of internet. I know him, internet.
Yeah, he's on the internet. No, he was one of the first people to ever record here. And he's a singer-songwriter, and actually I worked with him before we came in here, before I got this building. And I remember recording him at our house. But I've been working with him lately, after all these years. And I don't know, man. I think you and him would really get along.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to hang sometime.
Yeah, he's a nut.
Are you trying to say I'm crazy and unstable?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, man.
I mean, you seem pretty stable, though.
Yeah, I'm sort of. I try to direct my craziness in certain things, and just my everyday.
I mean, you're obviously crazy, but that's like, that's the people you need to worry about are the people who seem normal, but they're really crazy.
Inside, I think you're right, man. On those crime documentaries, he was always so nice.
Yeah,
he seems so normal.
But that's the cool thing about musicians. They kind of wear all that stuff on their, who they are.
That's true. That's a good point.
On the outside.
That's a good point. I don't know how to be fake. I'm terrible at, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't know how to do that. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, you seem very authentic and kind and smart. And you seem to have a lot of initiative, and
I try, man.
You seem very creative and coming up with things. That's why when you called me about doing this, it's like absolutely. I don't know what I don't know what Tony's thinking, but I'm sure it's going to be something.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Willing to go on my journeys of a roller coaster.
Oh yeah,
you never know where I'm gonna head.
My life is really. I mean, it's just. I'm doing the same thing now. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it's very boring. But I like it. There's not very little drama going on.
I got you. Yeah.
That
can be a good thing. I think in my later years, I don't really want. I want drama that's sort of serves an entertainment purpose and not necessarily for my personal life.
Yeah.
Just like a an outlet, but not a state of being.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, how did you get to know old Dave Ketching over at Rancho de la Luna? Because that's a cool dude right there. I was just thinking about that. I'm like, I got to bring that up when I talk to Jeremy.
Well, a friend of mine, Kenneth Bryan, he's kind of a southern rocker, originally from Gainesville, Florida, but he was living out there in L.A., and he just called me up one time out of the blue and just said, hey man, I'm making a record and I'm going out to the middle of the Mojave Desert, Rancho de la Luna. You want to come with me? And my anxiety initially, it took, I about had a panic attack right now because I knew I was going to do it,
Yeah.
And, but yeah, I did it. And I went out there to Rancho de la Luna. And, we made that record out there. And, it was one of the most fun experiences recording in music I've ever had.
Yeah,
and then it's quite soon after I invited you.
Yeah, man. And that was right before freaking COVID hit. It was the worst timing ever.
Yeah. We had it booked and they had tickets and everything too.
I know. It's horrible, man. I was so sad.
Yeah, I was too. But, I've talked to Dave recently and, he's still out there and still wants us to come out there.
Do it, man. Yeah, absolutely. I would love.
Dude, we should bring this show.
Yeah, let's do it. Talk to Dave or whoever's to a road runner, whoever's out there in the desert and wondering somebody on their peyote trip running around. Just talk to them.
He would do it.
Talk to the ghost of Graham Parsons.
Yeah. That was it Joshua Tree Inn? I mean, it's like you can see it from the front porch of the studio.
Man, and if anybody doesn't know about the studio, it's really a legendary place. Dave Ketching, he was in the band Earthlings, and if you know anything about that desert rock scene with Queens of the Stone Age, and then kind of before that, there's a huge kind of thing you could probably talk about.
I didn't really know that much about it until I went there, and then I came back and started, let me look into this going on, Eagles of Death Metal.
Yeah, he played in their touring band, right?
Yeah. I think they made some records out there, too.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. I just loved it out there, and it was, it's my type of studio, it's about this size, but it's, it's kind of janky, but my experience working at Johnny's studio and even this one where things are kind of broken, you just have to work around it, it really paid off out there.
I love that. I feel the same way, man, because to me, growing up, when I started listening to music, it was all about like everything that come out of Sun Records in the 50s. And this Sun Records right there in Memphis, and Sun Phillips put that together, and it's like that. It was Sam Phillips recording service, and it was like this small area. So I would go there. I've been there literally like 14 times. It's been my mecca. So I've been there, and I always had a special place in my heart for that kind of a small studio where there's a magical, there's just some sort of magic there. And I feel like I've not been to the Rancho de la Luna, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it's similar to that because so many great artists have recorded there. Yeah. I mean, I think Iggy Pop did an album there. Dick Dale recorded. All these people I love.
Foo Fighters did.
Foo Fighters came. Never heard of them. Yeah, Foo Fighters recorded there. Pretty cool.
Yeah. There's this thing that happens with studios where, they'll have a little studio, a little funky hole in the wall, and then they'll have some big hit, and then they're like, oh, well, we need to have all this money now. We need to expand and buy some palace studio with chandeliers and hot tubs and water slides and stuff. And, in the old building, they move out and the old building just rots and falls in. And then they have this new building that's, has the vibe of a, insurance office / but with a hot tub in it,
Yes, insurance.
And that's a very common mistake you see in. I mean, I don't know if I should call it a mistake, but I don't know, man. I just think that I like places that kind of appeal to musicians, and kind of feels like a home, even though it's not in a house.
No, I get it, man. I'm totally with you on that. It's just a different thing, and I love the hot tub in the insurance office. I refuse to do business with any insurance now unless they have a hot tub in their office, because that's a great idea. Have to insure it for what is that, like staph infection? Do you have staph infection insurance for this hot tub?
Oh yeah.
That took a turn. But yeah, man, I could see that though. And there's nothing wrong with money and making money. That's kind of something you have to do. But you lose the vision, the original vision of something sometimes, I think, because the money gets in there, like you say, and it just let's make this into a factory and churn out as much as we can to keep making that money, instead of looking at it like an artist, like how can we take this and make something original and interesting.
Yeah, that's why I've chosen to be broke for this many years. I'm protesting.
Yeah, that's why you had that. I'm trying to think. What is those? Now I'm going really dark, but that monk that I think set himself on fire.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy. Now that is a hardcore protest. Yeah, I forget who that was, but this is the way my mind works. This is why it's dangerous for me to be interviewing anyone, because I'm like, well, what about that fire truck that just went by? So anyway, the Waco and the it's just disturbing. But man, I love hearing about my friends and so many awesome things going on in the South that not everybody knows about, or they do know about, but they don't know a lot about what's going on in it. And I like to, this is like one of my buddies on the very first episode, Jason Sims, a good friend. He was like, this is like inside the actor's studio. I'm like, yeah. And I thought about it. I'm like, well, I guess it kind of is, because I'm sort of pulling back the curtain a little bit on people sort of that you may have heard of or know about, or things going on, but you may not know sort of the backstory. So I think that's been a cool kind of side effect to me, trying to feature, local people in the South and just all the culture, man. It's so funny because when I was younger, and I was telling you this earlier, when I was younger, I couldn't wait to get out of Coleman. I couldn't wait to get out of the South, because I had more of a worldly mind, but I wanted to look into different things, But now it's like, no, I want to be here, because it's there's something special about it, and there's lots of interesting people that don't follow the goofy stereotype like you see on the news or whatever.
Yeah. So since you're from Coleman, what do people from Coleman think of when they think of people from Decatur? What stereotypes do we have?
So let's see. Well, the worst of them run little recording studios, and you want to stay away from those types, because they're probably gonna be trouble, up to no good. No, I'm trying to think of maybe. Like, I have no stereotype of Decatur now, but it's funny when I was younger though, I remember like Decatur felt like sort of like it could be maybe Chicago, because I came from a really small little tiny welty. So I lived out in the woods, literally, like we chopped down trees.
Wow. Yeah.
I was just talking to my dad how I used to get mad because he'd make me go like weed eat, but with a sling blade.
Oh yeah.
So it was harder to do, and so I'm coming from primitive.
Yeah.
So it was funny because Huntsville and Birmingham, that was like New York to me. That's like the big times. So
yeah.
It's weird how things get smaller over time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just stay away from those recording people in Decatur.
I've had recorded a few people from Coleman lately. Span No Culture and then the Hassle in One, both are from Coleman.
Okay, yeah.
And they're very cool. good music, but they're and I told them this. People from Coleman, their music is so weird.
Thank you.
I know, and I had to like. Oh, man, I mean, that's a compliment.
Yeah, no, I always take weird as a compliment every time.
Yeah, and it's very unusual and weird stuff that's, I don't know, man. There's something going on over there.
There is, man. There's a lot of lead in the water. We eat lots of paint chips. We put that in our grits. I have ADHD. I just got distracted that you have lightsabers across the room, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Every studio should have lightsabers.
They come in handy. And you like my pedal wall over there?
Yeah, man. I'm just imagining he's got pedals that are kind of like stuck to the wall there, the carpet kind of on the wall instead of like a pedal board. So I'm just imagining some like ninja dude that can kind of break dance, and he's like clicking all the pedals in succession.
I should hook them up, all of them up at the same time.
It would actually be awesome, be all lit up.
Except for the deodorant on the top.
Put that on somebody's pedal board. And nice.
That's for a very specific band.
Is that for your like a doom core band?
Sometimes bands are stinky.
I could see that. Yeah, I know I used to go to a lot of punk shows in Birmingham. There's this place called American Beat, and it was sort of near UAB, and my friend Russell had it. It was a record store, but he would move the shelves over, and he'd have punk shows in there all the time. But I remember this band, and they came in, and they smelled horrible.
Were they called Sage?
No, they were called F face. And they came in and they smelled horrible, but they were sort of like a grindy, crusty band, like the singer, like screaming. But Russell, he had brought out, I guess he had some incense. He thought, okay, I'll bring this out to kind of, so it won't smell as bad. And he put that out and kind of, I guess, stuck it to the edge of the wall where it would be burning there. So the singer, he was singing or screaming. Yeah. He grabbed that incense thing, jammed the burning end into his eye as he was screaming. I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely buying a T-shirt.
Was this in Coleman?
Like early 90s in Birmingham.
Oh, Birmingham.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
But yeah, that's, you never know, man. These musicians, you can't trust them.
It's funny how you can trust them, though.
Oh, that's true. It's true. Yeah.
And I do this for a living because I think musicians are only people that I like. So I had no other choice, But whenever I don't know, man. If I go to any legitimate spot, it's like, all right, what's this guy up to?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I trust this friend. He doesn't
play
anything.
What's his deal? Yeah.
And just whenever, I just remember going to like a PTA meeting as a kid or something, and it's like, or not as a kid, when I had kids, little kids, and I happened to know that guy plays drums over there. Like that dad over there plays drums, so we're just gonna go over there and talk to them, hang out with me. So, talk drum stuff,
Yeah, man.
Everything Steve Gadd, Steve Jordan, Steve Ferroni. You go down to Steve's, the drummer's name Steve. No, but anyway, we'll just talk about drums or music or something, I'd rather talk to a drummer than, a lawyer or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, when I think like what you were saying earlier, we all kind of wear our hearts on our sleeve. It's like what you're getting. There's usually not. I guess there's some flakes out there, but many times there's no ulterior motive. It's like, yeah, I'm here. This is obvious. Like, who I am, and not putting on airs, as the fancy people say.
Yes.
Well, tell me about 10 Ton Records. That's another thing.
That's a good question. Well, thank you. It's kind of a passion project. It's just at some point it just seemed like I needed to start a record label. The way I just felt like I was working with all these great artists, and and each one of them has a little thing going, but they need more things. And I mean, each band is kind of like that, but the things they need are like the same things, you know. So I was like, well, if I'm very anti-record label type person, but what if we brought all these bands together, and you know, we shared resources and shared ideas, and maybe even play on each other's records a little bit and kind of get some synergy going here, and. You know, and what can we call that? Oh, let's call it a record label. And so, you know, we've been doing that a little bit. I mean, you know, it's the type of thing where I'm a little frustrated with it right now, just because I'm so busy doing recording, recording studio stuff. Full. Like there's things that I really need to do for the record label that I just aren't getting done.
It's hard to do everything.
So right now it's very frustrating. But no, I had some really good people on there. Lamont Landers, we did some really good stuff with him. Camacho, Drop Diver, 5 O'Clock Charlie did some pop. Oh, yeah. I just think it's just special music from this area. I mean, not even this area. That just, you know, deserves to be heard, and also it, you know, I think it could benefit from them maybe teaming up with another band and, you know, that needs the same things. Yeah. You know, the best way to make money is, you know, selling your music is selling a physical product. You know, and some bands are really good at that, and some bands aren't. Most bands suck at it. But there are a few bands that are really good at it, and they have their merch thing. They got it all figured out, you know. Well, let's help all these bands, you know, do their merch, you know, the same way. And, you know, that's the idea of it. And, you know, it's just a work in progress.
Yeah, giving them a leg up, kind of working together. I love it, man. That's kind of...
We do have a compilation record that has come out, and it's for sale at Vertical House Records in Huntsville.
Cool. I love that place.
And we're going to try to find, there's a few other places that, you know, we're going to, you know, maybe I need a place to, we'll probably do, up at Urban Atlas in Decatur. Oh, yeah. I just want to put like one spot in each city where these bands actually play. Yeah. You know, and I don't want to have like 10 places in Huntsville to sell these CDs where those record stores are, you know, competing with each. I want to be pretty exclusive to a certain spot that, you know, they treat us good, we'll treat them good. Maybe we'll do a show at their record shop and that sort of thing.
Yeah, man. Dairy Queen, we treat you right. But yeah, totally. I love that idea. And it's kind of, it's becoming rarer and rarer to have the physical media and stuff like that.
Yeah. And hopefully CDs will come back.
I think CDs are cool, man. I never thought they were...
Yeah, I think they are coming back.
Yeah, and I think like formats always sort of circle back around, it seems like.
Well, you know, vinyl has been the craze for a while. And we're going to have some vinyl. I mean, Drop Diver is going to do a vinyl. But the thing is, you know, vinyl is so expensive to have made, as you know. Yep. And it takes a real long time to get it made. And CDs are still super cheap to get made. So these bands are getting CDs made, and they're selling them. You know, we just need somebody like Jack White to tell people that CDs are cool again.
All right, y'all. Just, it's like a board of directors. Okay, first item on CDs are cool again.
Of course, he owns a vinyl factory, so I don't know if he's going to.
That's true. Yeah, that's sort of counterintuitive to his business model.
I don't see him doing that anytime soon.
Well, dang, man, you got anything else you can think of, like about the studio or 10 Ton Records? Like, how can we find out more about the studio, Clearwave or 10 Ton Records?
Well, we have a website, 10tonrecords.com or Clearwave Studio. Or is it studios? Clearwave Studios.
Okay.
.com. They take you to the same place. There's a lot of information there, probably too much.
Can never have enough.
Yep.
Well, like I say, anyone that's interested in recording in the Southeast, this is an incredible place to come record. It's very cool.
Bring money.
The most important thing, bring money. That's very important. No, Jeremy's got. I just want to admit something right now. I'm so used to saying Jeremy, and I think that's a Southern thing.
Yeah.
But it's actually Jeremy is how you're supposed to say Jeremy, right? Like I talked to Cindy about this, and I was like, I think I'm always saying his name wrong, but I think it's because I'm Southern.
That's never really come up before.
You know what I mean? Like I think about things like this.
Yeah.
What's your take on it?
I say Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Okay. Try it again.
Okay. Jeremy.
That's good.
Why did I sound like German for a second?
My brother used to call me Germs. So you can call me that.
Man. Well, but I don't know why I thought of that. I'm like, because it was like, man, I want to make sure I say his name because I say stuff because I'm so Southern. It's like, I'm okay with the Southernness, but I do want to get people's names pronounced correctly.
Yes.
That's important.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Absolutely. But, man, it's been awesome to have you on here. And like you were saying earlier, bring money, record your band here. Yeah. Sound awesome. It's a pretty simple process.
That's right. And rehearse, practice.
That's very
before
important.
You get in here, prepare.
I was going to say that's like one of those things where we were talking about a band coming in and making a great record and sounding good in a live room like that. That's because all the work is done in the front end.
Well, it saves you money.
90%. Yeah.
I've sat behind that console just watching a band learn a song instead of. Man. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would make more money.
Yeah. But you actually care. You care about the people you record.
Yeah.
Which is cool. Yeah, man. But, well, hey, it's been great having you on here. I hope it hasn't been too painful to have to talk to me that long.
It's pretty easy.
Well, man, I really appreciate it. And thank you for letting me hang out here with you in one of my favorite places, Clearwave Studio right here. But I guess that is our episode for today of Southern Renaissance. Hope you all have a good one, and we'll see you next time.